Subha Sagar Prabhu, what is the second sloka of Sri Upadeshamrita?
Okay, Hare Krishna. The second sloka of Upadeshamrita is Atyahara Priyasyascha Bhajalpaniya Margaha Gyara Sangoshchololyam Cha Sabde Bhakti Vinisyati. So the translation is these are the 6 impediments of bhakti. These are the 6 things which will destroy your bhakti. Atyahara, collecting too much or eating too much. Priyasyas, over-endeavoring in materialistic activities. Atyahara priyasyas cha prajalpo, mundane talks, especially gossip. Niyamargaha, following the regulations too strictly or following the regulations not enough. Jnana sangas, associating with mundane people. Chalolyam cha, so greed to collect various opinions. So these
Mundane people such as?
people that are opposed to bhakti. Okay.
Examples?
Okay. All right, calm down. So purports. So yeah, these are the 6 things that have to be given up in order to progress on the path of bhakti. Now, the first sloka talks about vacho vegam, manasakroda vegam. The first sloka gives you the essence. Vacho vegam, control your speech, control your tongue. If you manage to control your tongue, then you'll quickly overcome these 6 impediments. So what's the first one? Adhihara, overeating. Okay? You eat too much prasad, like the first sloka says, jiva vegam udara prastha vegam. You eat too much prasad, your belly is disturbed, then your genital is disturbed. Okay? Or you just can't get out of bed because you're too fat. And, So basically, if you're eating too much, especially if you're eating forbidden things, like tamasic food, your mind's going to be disturbed. Okay? You are what you eat. You have to make sure you honor prasadam, and you don't honor too much of it, You also don't collect too much. Don't have too many material things. Too many clothes, too many possessions, too much this, too much that. If you're a brahmachari, you're not supposed to have hardly anything. You're just what you need to maintain your life. If you're a grihasta, obviously you need to collect stuff to maintain your family, but not too much. Don't get too attached. I mean, the thing is, you can't just be fanatical about this, but the thing is, you have to, like some very materialistic people, they're chasing after the next car, the next mobile phone, the next new gadget that's coming out. They constantly want to upgrade their house. They want to buy this, buy that. So just give up consumerism. Atyahara priyasyas, over-endeavoring for materialistic things. Okay, so you want to climb Mount Everest. You want to do 1,000 push-ups a day. You want to go on holiday here and there. You want to read Shakespeare. You want to get this promotion at work. You want to do. Okay, forget about all this. Okay, your karma is fixed. There's not so much you can do to change what what you're going to get in this life. So just accept it as it comes and focus on your bhajan. Bhajalpo. Bhajalpo means just talking mundane topics. And that's the general meaning. If whatever you talk about, that's what your mind is going to focus on. So if you're always talking about Krishna, your mind's always going to be thinking about Krishna. If you're always talking about Star Wars, or cultural Marxism, or the Islamic invasion of Europe, your mind's going to be focused there. That's the basic meaning. Another meaning, which Gurudev gives in his book, Upadeshamrita, in his commentary, he says, don't criticize anybody. Try not to criticize anybody. Try not to get involved in gossip and slander. If you criticize somebody, what you are doing is you're creating a bridge and you're taking that person's bad qualities. So you've got to be careful of this. Also got to be careful of glorifying people. Especially if you're glorifying materialistic people, like politicians and this and that. Because maybe they got some good material qualities, but do they love Krishna? So if you're glorifying these people, you're getting attached to materialistic people. Niyamagraha. So this is an interesting one. So 2 meanings. One is not following the rules and regulations strictly enough. And the second one is following too many rules and regulations. So the first meaning, not following regulations enough, this means, well, you have to follow the 4 regulative principles. You have to, so no meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling. You have to chant Harinam every day. You have to serve the Vaishnavas. You have to follow the general rules and regulations of bhakti. There are some people that follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, some so-called devotees who follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but they are what is known as sahajas. So they're chanting Radhi, 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 but then they're smoking marijuana and they're having sex and they're doing this and that and blah, blah, blah. So this is a mistake. In order to get bhakti, you have to follow the rules. You have to have this greed for the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, but you have to follow rules as well. So that's the first meaning. The second meaning, too much attachment to rules and regulations prescribed in the Sastra. This is related to things like, because the Sastra is very deep. If you start getting into the Sastra and start looking at different rules and regulations, there are all kinds of different rules, like you've got to worship a cow, or you've got to feed the Brahmins, or you've got to do all kinds of different samskaras for wedding ceremonies and funeral ceremonies, and so many. There are many rules. Most actually, as Westerners, we don't really know so many of these rules. So you can follow something, but don't get too into all these little rules. Follow the rules that Gurudev tells you to follow. Okay, don't start reading different scriptures which are recommending different fire yagyas for different anatas, or feeding monkeys or feeding the birds, or astrology is another big one. People get into their astrology, and then the astrologer tells them, oh, you've got to do this special yantra, tantra, mantra, to fix this. Don't get into it. Okay, it's niyamagraha. Jnana sangas. Associating with materialistic devotees. Okay, big problem. You are who you associate with. Birds of a feather flock together. Okay, so if you're associating with materialistic people, you are going to become materialistic. Now, did you turn it off? No. So this doesn't mean you can't just be friendly to people. We should always be friendly and polite when dealing with everybody. The point is, you don't share your heart. Okay, like if you're a grihasta, you have to do business with people. You have to talk to people. You can be friendly. Don't start talking about your spiritual sentiments with materialistic people, unless they're favorable and you're preaching to them. That's something else. But one big mistake that new devotees often make is they discover the Krishna conscious movement. They're like, wow, Krishna, wow, and they get into the philosophy. And then they go and they tell their mum and dad, or they go and tell their friends. And their friends are like, wow, that just sounds stupid, or whatever. And they put it down, they criticize it. And then that's going into your heart, and that's destroying your bhakti. So don't associate with materialistic people. What's next? Loilam, greed. Greed of the mind to cultivate opinions. Okay? So, conspiracy theory, the Holocaust, 9/11, cultural Marxism, Islamic invasion of Europe, moon landing. These are all favorite devotee topics. I'm also very guilty of this one. Flat Earth, yeah. World War III, when's it going to happen? Vegan philosophy, Illuminati, New World Order. All of that. You're cultivating mundane opinions. Okay, so, these things, you associate with devotees, these things are coming. Don't get too attached to them. Don't get too into them. You got to remember, we have to remember that we're only on this world temporarily. Okay, we can get upset about what's going on in this world, but very soon we're going to die, and where we're going to take birth, God only knows. So these things just won't affect us anymore. So, JFK, yeah. So, yeah, and also I remember in Gurudev's purport, he was saying, you know, you start developing opinions about yoga, you start developing opinions about, you know, astrology, karma yoga, jnana yoga, and then you start getting diverted into this kind of sastra. You know, you're thinking about that. If you start thinking and you start cultivating an opinion about something, then sooner or later you start doing that thing, you know. So that's the thing to be careful about. These are the 6 points that will destroy your bhakti. You've got to be careful about these points. But the essence, of course, is vachuvegam, manasakrodavegam. If you can control your tongue, you can control your speech, you will be saved from many of these things. Okay, Hare Krishna.